Okay, based on the taxonomic hierarchy below, blowfly is from the fly order Diptera and the family Calliphoridae. The name blowfly comes from the bloated condition of the rotting animal carcasses that their larvae infest. There are a few colors among species, which include metallic blue, green, or black in color. With an average size of 8 to 10 mm, they are slightly larger than the housefly but resemble them in habits, and they are really noisy in flight. This is the life cycle of the blowfly. The blowfly has a complete metamorphosis with egg, larval or maggot, pupal, and adult stages. Female flies need to access to suitable food or protein to allow them to produce eggs, and the eggs must remain moist or they will not hatch. Larvae hatch from eggs in about 24 to 45 hours, and these are known as the first stage larvae. Once the first exoskeleton is shed, the larvae enter the second stage, following up by the third stage. And after growing for about 5 days, they will change to pupae. Mature adult flies emerge after about 2 weeks in warm weather. However, if the temperatures are low, development may take a month or longer. Okay, so this is the eggs that I obtained when I use prawn to attract the blowfly. Okay, this is the eggs of blowfly that I obtained. It is white in color and has ovoid or elliptic shape, but they are less elongated with blunt or rounded ends. The size is about 1 mm. As for the degree of sculpturing and ornamentation, the surface of the eggs are smooth. Okay, so based on the photo above, we can see that how small the eggs are compared to the pencil's tip. And the eggs are laid singly but are piled in small groups. Thus, the pattern of oviposition is in batches. Oviposition normally commences 4 to 20 days after copulation, and the number of eggs produced is a function of female size, which itself is principally a result of larval nutrition. Often, flies will deposit their eggs in close proximity, and maximum egg production occurs at intermediate temperatures, which is between 25 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. Okay, next, let's see the larval stage of the blowflies. Okay, so this is the first stage larvae, which they just hatch from the eggs. As we can see here, the larvae have already grown in size, thus this is the second larvae stage. Their enzyme breaks down the body to aid in digestion, and they feed on the resulting material. Here's a close-up. So starting from second larvae stage, they have already equipped with the mouth parts. This is the third larvae stage. The size is getting bigger and the color has already started to turn into milky yellow, which is not as white and transparent as before. As we can see here, once the larvae reach maturity, they crawl off in search of a drier and cooler place to undergo the next life cycle stage, which is the pupae stage. The larvae are segmented, tapered at the head, and blunt at the end. Their mouth parts are developed as hooks and function by moving up and down. Maggots are born on their food source and they feed on the garbage, manure, or other material. So, let's continue to the pupae stage. Initially, the color of the pupae was reddish brown. Then it started to change its colors from reddish brown to a darker color. And now it's black. Okay, so when the larvae find their way to the ground and no longer move or feed, their skin will harden and gradually turns from a reddish light brown to a black color of rounded and oblong pupal case, which protects it from the weather and predators. The mechanical defense imposed by the blowfly is a quick escape with speed and agility using its mechanoreceptive hairs and antennae that are sensitive enough to detect the change in air pressure that precedes a fast-moving object. Besides, it has the compound eyes that can see a very wide view from every angle. This helps them to notice fast movement and escape from the predators. So when you try to sweat them, they will leap into the air and begin to flap their wings 30 to 50 milliseconds after sensing the threat. One of the importance of blowfly for conservation monitoring is blowfly plays an important role as a decomposer that breaks down organic materials such as the remains of dead organisms and recycle them into other living matter in an ecosystem. As blowfly is a type of fly that lay its eggs in dung, rotting meat, or open wounds. For example, through the larvae's digestive system, materials are broken down into their components and the nutrients are returned to the soil. So without the blowflies, this decomposition process would take far longer and there will be more rotting carcasses lying around spreading diseases. Besides, the life cycle of a blowfly can tell us the time of death. Blowflies can hone in on dead animals and corpses and lay eggs within minutes. And forensic entomologists can gather clues by examining the developmental of the larvae and pupae stages and also by determining the temperature of the surrounding area. This enables the investigators to know how long does a dead body is been there. For example, whenever the police investigate a death, one of the most important pieces of evidence is determining the time of someone died. Not only important in figuring out how someone passed, but it can also determine who killed them if a crime was involved.